So basically, many companies are now thinking of big data and having some kind of big data projects or even big data strategy. But in most of the cases, it's still considered, I mean, the data is still considered to be first and foremost the source of knowledge for people, right? So we analyze the data to understand things better, to try and make better decisions on strategy, for example, or launching new products or whatever it is. But in fact, we strongly believe that the biggest value in use of big data lies in machine-driven automation. You can use algorithms to analyze this data and build predictions about what's going to happen much more accurate than you could do before by just human analysts. And you can also act on these predictions, basically automating some parts of your business process while saving costs or generating additional revenues. The industries which are very, very fast adopting these new technologies are probably, first of all, industries related to serving big customer base, like retail, telecom, retail banking, this kind of industries. On the other hand, there are a lot of money to be made in the equipment-heavy industries, like manufacturing or infrastructure, because equipment-generated data can just as well be analyzed by machine learning algorithms and used to optimize costs of steel making, for example, as we did for one of our customers, or predict equipment failure, which can also save you a lot of money. The difference is when you use machine learning algorithm, it can actually analyze each and every person. Well, maybe we don't know who this person is, we usually don't, but we know that this is a customer like number 348, and we can analyze his personal patterns compared to the patterns of all the other millions of users and build much better predictions. For example, for e-commerce, they already use it heavily, right? There are some very obvious uses, like you can show people what probably they would like to buy, right? Just based on what you know about this particular user, you can make very personalized recommendations. But sometimes it goes better. Like, for example, if you are a regular user of the online grocery shop, it can just as well remind you that, you probably, maybe, you forgot to buy the milk, because you usually do, and so on. So there is a lot of analytics/automation into it, which allows you to generate much more money from the same process.
What are some of the obstacles you end up facing, basically?
Okay, there's one false obstacle and one real one. The false one, which we hear a lot about, pretty much every time we start talking to some new customer, what they tell us first is, okay, all you're telling us about sounds very interesting. We really want to try and implement this kind of machine learning-based project, but, our data, well, it's not probably good enough. It probably contains some mistakes. It's sometimes unstructured. It's spread around different systems. So probably we need to start with a big IT project on, cleaning up all our data and structuring it. And after that, we can have this great project with you and have real value out of this data. But just as I said, it's a false obstacle. In fact, they shouldn't do any of that. And this is the first time we need to explain them that, guys, machine learning is different. Machine is not looking for structure or logic. It's actually looking for patterns which are best found in the raw data. You don't need to clean them up. You don't need to structure them. You don't need to try and put them into, beautiful databases with the right types of tables. Just give us the data and let machine figure out the rest. So this is a problem that people think they have, but they actually don't.
Okay.
Another problem, which they actually have, while they don't know it mostly, is the culture of experimentation. Because of the nature of these technologies, when machine learning algorithm is looking for those patterns and build the predictive model, it considers hundreds or thousands of different factors to weight them all and build this prediction for each particular case. That's why it can personalize, recommendations or be so precise in the amount of ferroalloys to put in steel and save on that. But the flip side of it is that because the model is so complex, it cannot be explained. So when we say, okay, you need to send this user this offer, we cannot explain why. We do not have our beautiful reports with segmentations to explain it. So the only way to make sure that these machine-built recommendations are actually relevant and they're actually going to generate you additional money is to experiment. You need to put it into the real life situation and see how it works against your current processes, then measure the difference and make sure that you are getting the results you're aiming to.
If we're looking at all these brick and mortar type of companies who want to start leveraging and they want to start using machine to machine learning and they want to start using data, what are the three tips you give them?
Well, first and foremost, if you didn't start your first machine learning project yet, you should do it immediately, just like yesterday, because it is already happening and you're just going to lose your competitiveness because it improves your operations so much. That's the first thing. Second thing, when you decide on your first machine learning project, make sure that it is supposed to bring you very specific and very measurable value, no matter what it is. You may look for more sales, or you may look for some specific part of cost optimization. Whatever it is, it should be measurable and as close to the real money as possible. And the third thing, it should be generated within first couple of months. If you speak to your machine learning specialist or you're like hiring some company which is doing it for you, and they say, okay, let's just implement a project for a year and then we'll see how it goes, just close the door and look for another ones. Because that's how it's supposed to work. You take the data, you build a model, you put it in place. It should take 2-3 months to see the real value in your P&L.